Hey guys, welcome to our SoulFam Podcast, where I interview space holders from all over the world. I'm your host. My name is Karolina, and I am the connection catalyst. I help spiritual entrepreneurs experience deeper connection with themselves, with others, and with the whole universe. Today on the show, we have Amina Bergliot, the spiritual coach and Starseed. Welcome to the show, Amina. How are you doing?
Thank you. I'm fine. Thank you. How are you?
I am doing great. I just did my meditation, my yoga, and I'm just feeling so pumped to talk to you today because we're going to touch upon the topics that I really, really love. So it's just really exciting for me to talk to you about Samadhi and Starseeds and all these amazing things. So I'm just super, super happy. So let's start a little bit with the backstory of yours. How did you become the spiritual coach? What was your spiritual journey? When was your awakening? And I would just love to know, and I'm sure the listeners are really curious about you as well.
Yes. Well, I have always felt different like my whole life. And I think that's a common thing for, Starseeds, light workers. But I started to connect with tarot cards for maybe 5 years ago. So I've been working on, can I call it a hotline? How do I say it in English? No, not a hotline. That's not a hotline, is it? Like a phone.
I think it is. I think it is.
A hotline? Okay. Well, I've been working with that for 5 years. But I've kind of been in the spiritual closet. Like it's not been something that I wanted to be recognized with. I knew that I did something great with this, helped a lot of people, but I was kind of ashamed. But the last year, a lot of things has happened, and I got my kind of second awakening through a karmic relationship. And that's usually what happens when you awaken spiritually fully. That's, through like accidents or tough periods or, big life events. So I started to get more connection with my, my guides, my inner voice. And I had this summer, actually, I had I think I had the biggest awakening about who we really are, what we are, all is one. And like Starseeds, where I'm from, I've gotten so many downloads, and I've started to speak my truth and sharing my information, my knowledge with people. Also studying esoteric astrology, because I do think that this is our blueprint of the soul. And I think that it's like the best shrink you could go to is your birth chart. Like you can see your karmic nodes. You can see your why you are the way you are. And when someone gets you, when someone understands you, when someone sees you, that's very heartfelt, right? So you have all of that in your chart. And I have a lot of passion for people to look at their chart, see it, like, what is your soul purpose? So I've had an amazing summer, like with a lot of awakenings, a lot of tough things happening as well. But it is what did I say to my friend a couple of days ago? It's like, now that I've understood things and accepted things, that life is not supposed to be easy. When I have accepted that, that's when I can feel that I am like, I feel more now that I can be happy and in pain at the same time. And that's very strange, but yeah. Other than that, I have 2 kids. I have 2 cats. I have my kids every other week. So I'm a mom trying to juggle everything, but yeah.
Beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing. And I love what you said about being unhappy and kind of happy at the same time, because that comes from this inner peace that we have, right? The connection to the source of who we really are. And when we can accept the negative experiences, it's actually the positive experience. If we are in full acceptance and we are just taking in everything as it happens, then nothing is really against us in a way, or we are not against anything, because we can take on any emotion. We can feel everything everything. So even if the worst things happen, we can be at peace with it, just accept it as it is. So I totally resonate with that. And I feel like doing the work, like for example, Teal Swans, right? Because we met on a Teal Swans event, doing the completion process or parts work, or just being with these really uncomfortable feelings or really uncomfortable situations. The more you are comfortable in the uncomfortable, the more you're actually like, okay, it's cool. Even if I feel like shit, it's still cool. So I really love how you expressed it, because I feel the same. I feel that it's easier and easier and easier to just take in everything that happens, however it is, whether it's good or bad, quote unquote, right? Because there's no such thing as good or bad, quote unquote, because everything is one anyway. And to every situation, you can find both positive and negative aspects. So it's always one. But I just really love and resonate with that. And that brings me to another theme that I would like to touch upon with you, that is Samadhi. And I would like to know, how do you see Samadhi from your experience and your definition, maybe? Because I guess everyone has a little bit different definition of that.
Well, I think that with Samadhi, I think that you have this state that you reach in yogi, like the I would like to call it the final step, but I think there's no end to contrast anyway. But for me, like Samadhi is the illusion of the self, right? It is about discovering your self and kind of shed the personas of your own personality, the reality we have here. And I think that like we have to understand that, reach that, we have to stop the mind before it gets recognized, because our mind wants to, put it in a box, wants to understand it, but we have to, we don't have to do anything, but it will be good if we can try to think with our soul, because everything is all inside us. Everything is, like it is to understand that we are all God, like we're all this lump of God, the source, call it whatever you will, that, exploded into pieces, and to experience itself in all different shapes and forms. And, the acceptance and surrendering to that light and dark, we need those contrasts, and everything is love. And as you said earlier, to be in a state where you are in pain and thinking that this is actually exactly how it is supposed to be. And I think that like Samadhi is really surrendering to yourself, knowing that you are the Father, the Son, the Holy Spirit. Like I talked to my friend earlier today, and I said to him, because I've always, like, I have been through different religions. I've been a Muslim, I've been a Christian, I've been, I don't know what the other thing is called in English, but I feel more Christian now than when I was Christian, because there's a lot, all the symbols, the synchronicities, like in all the religions. Like if we just separate all the differences, the source, it's the same thing. It's Jesus. It's about carrying our cross. Now I get goosebumps. It's about taking everyone's sins on the cross, and the pain, but also the acceptance and the forgive them, Father, because they don't know what they're doing, because they're doing this to themselves. The pain we are in, like when we are hurt, like we do that for ourselves. Like you can't do anything to me if I don't allow you to. You can't make me feel hurt if I don't allow you to, because so, but I do know that Samadhi in yogi, it's kind of a more, like when you search Samadhi online, I find more like about the yogi aspect of it, which is very amazing. I don't know what are your like, how do you look at this?
Very similarly to you, to be honest. I feel like Samadhi is the state where you feel or sense or are the pure consciousness. And when you are just are, pure being.
Yes.
This is where you feel like you are everything, because everything is.
Yes.
Right? So when you are reaching the state of pure presence, like isness, as Muji calls it, one of my favorite gurus, this isness, this being, this presence, this is what samadhi means to me. And as you said, it's like we are experiencing ourselves as God, as the source, as a fractal of God. Sometimes we feel ourselves as a part of God, sometimes we feel ourselves as everything, but ultimately it's just sensing and understanding and knowing and being who we really are at the source. And so that's very, very similar to how you see it. But I'm really curious to know how you see it when it comes to everyday life, because I feel like sometimes some people want to reach samadhi and just be there and just be God all the time. But we are actually human, and we're supposed to also live here on earth and experience shit and, go through traumas and just, sometimes be crazy. And I feel like I personally really love being a human. And, there is a reason why I incarnated as a human. And I feel like once, I think I read in the book of Dr. David Hawkins, the one who created the scale of consciousness, that he was so much in the state of pure consciousness that he lost touch with the normal human life, right? So I'm just really curious about your perspective. Like, how do you see integration of the state in our everyday life? Because obviously when we are in the state, we can let go of things easier. We can accept things. We can bring the different perspective onto whatever we are going through, and it gives us peace. And this peace can be there all the time, and we can come back to this peace all the time. But also, if we're constantly there, only there, we wouldn't really fulfill our mission here on earth, because there is a reason why we are not just pure consciousness right now. We are human right now. So I'm curious about your perspective about this integration of the state in our human life.
That's a very, very important question. And I think it's awesome that you asked me that. You also summed up how I do feel and think about it, because like in all of the religions, they are, they are separating, like it's you against me, like it's like kind of a war, right? Mm-hmm. And I think that now that spirituality is, there are more and more people who awake, right? And you have the spiritual people who just want to be on top of a mountain, only eating, vegetables and don't want to associate with human beings, right? And I think that they are supposed to be there to show kind of a contrast in this life, right? Mm-hmm. Because we are all going to awake in different stages throughout our, what is it called? When rebirth, the incarnations, right? Mm-hmm. So I feel that for me, it's very important to understand or to show people that you can be very spiritual and very human, because as you said, we are human beings. We came here, we chose to come here. Like if I, in my biggest awakening this summer, I was in shock. I called my friend. I said to him, I want to die. I want to, I don't want to die because I hurt. Like, I don't want to take suicide, but I want to go home. Like, I had this big awakening. I just wanted to go home. And I was like, it doesn't matter if I pay my bills. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, someday I'm not even going to miss my children because I won't have that kind of feeling. Like, everything was just, and then he told me, you chose to come here for a reason. You chose to experience this. Like, what is the point of you, becoming a human being just to sit here and want to go home? That makes no sense. So for me, it's very important to show that you can be, have a hand up there and at the same time be on earth, because we're supposed to experience the human feelings. We're supposed to, like, even for you and me, like, we have found a lot of truths. But the thing is that we can guide people, we can help people, and we can probably consider ourselves as having knowledge to help people, right? But that doesn't mean that we can't, mess up. We are human beings. We are going to fail. We are going to hurt someone. We are going to let someone hurt us. That is the part of the experience. But as you also said, that when you are in that state of oh, this is painful. Like, whew, it's like accepting the pain. Okay, where does it hurt and why? Okay, there, and why does it hurt? Oh, maybe that's the hug I didn't get when I was a child, or like whatever. Just feel the feelings and accept them, because when you run from them that things get serious. But as you said, only being conscious like all the time, I personally think that then you're missing out on life. You're missing out on, getting the best of both worlds. But as the times are shifting now, the age of Aquarius, people are going to see more and more that, because people, they want to put other people in boxes. Okay, who are you? Okay, you are human. You're an animal. Okay, you are spiritual. We will put you in that box. But for example, for me, especially in Norway, like the people around me that are not spiritual, they are like, who are you? What are you? I can't put you in any box. Are you normal like me, or are you spiritual? Like, how can you? But as I'm trying to explain is that I can look at myself in the mirror and I can see Jesus's. I can, look at myself flowing and flying, and I can go to pick up my kids from school afterwards and, buy an ice cream and do human stuff, like experience it all. That's why we're here. That's why we chose it.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for sharing that. I love the example that you gave, because you can meditate all day, but then at the end of the day, you need to feed your kids, and that's it. And, and that's beautiful as well.
Yes. And it's, I just want to add that, like, for all the spiritual people, please don't look down on other people, like the ones who are not supposed to awake now. They're not supposed to, like the ones who are not awakening, the ones who are not understanding, like family, friends, people you care about. Like, I find, like, from earlier, that I just really wanted to help them understand this, then you can feel better, but they're not supposed to awaken. And I think that, the spiritual and samadhi and everything, it's so important to not distance ourselves so much from the people who are not accepting of it. I think it's so important that we still show that we can, the mic here, that we can be one. Like, I don't want us to have this, what can I say? Like, when you take something apart, what is it called?
Separation.
Yeah. I don't want us to separate, because separation, that leads to fear. It leads to anger. We fear things we don't understand. Right. So I think that, especially in the age of Aquarius now, focus on, that we are one, and not starting a new spiritual, let's separate from the human beings. They're not awakened. They don't understand, because then you get, that's the ego. That's not spiritual at all. Right.
Yeah, and a lot of people who start are there, and I've been there as well, because I also have been introduced to spirituality in the way where the person that introduced me was like, everyone is a program, everyone is ego, and we are so spiritual, we are so cool. So I've been there, and I completely understand what you're talking about. And I also prefer to see everyone as one, because everyone is a teacher anyway. Even if someone is massively in their ego, massively in this human world, they still can show us something about ourselves, and they are still God and we are still God. So we can experience ourselves thanks to them, and choose how we want to express ourselves thanks to how they behave. And if someone is triggering us because someone is massively, traumatized or whatever, then we can choose to be accepting, we can choose to be loving, and we can then choose to be more, closer to who we really are. And that helps us also to expand. So even if we have all these difficult situations and people that are maybe not understanding of our perspectives or whatever, they still are there for us. They still are showing us something about ourselves and about the world at large. So it's really beautiful, actually, that they are there. But you mentioned the age of Aquarius, and I would like you to share a little bit more about this.
Yes. So, like, the age that we were in before of age of Aquarius, like, right, we were in the age of Pisces, like Christianity. We had a lot of sacrifice. Pisces, that's the sign of religion, spirituality in that sense. So we've been in that age for 2000 years. A lot of things has happened. There's different theories on what time exactly we came to the shift of age of Aquarius, but we are in age of Aquarius now. So what does Aquarius stand for? It stands for, humanitarian work, brotherhood, speaking the truth, technology. I can't even imagine, like, maybe 100 years from now, not even that, we will probably go to other, spaces, galaxies. Like, we're supposed to spread the truth, right? But then we have to look at the negative aspects of Aquarius, because every sign has good qualities and negative qualities, the polarity. And that is like, it's anger, it's standing for your own right, in that sense that you make war, you make and as we see now around the world, there are a lot of things that are coming up, more and more violence. People are saying no to this, and I think that now in the beginning in this shift, we are, people are starting to be woke. And that's the thing, the difference between woke and awaken. When you are woke, you still have your ego. You still do things out of anger, not in love. It's like, this isn't right. I'm going to stand up for myself, and people are getting, it's more and more killings. It's coming closer and closer to us, right? Things are coming up. People are seeing that there's something wrong here. Like, that's the age of Aquarius. So I think that we have gotten off in maybe a rougher start, but that's because we need to, things are coming up and to the surface, it's shedding light. So I do think that for the next 2000 years, because the ages is like approximately 2000 years, the next 2000 years, we can choose if this is the end of humanity, or if it's a kind of a new beginning. Because what comes after age of Aquarius? Then we have age of Capricorn. And age of like, you can think of Capricorn. What is Capricorn? Capricorn is the builder. He builds blocks and blocks and building something up again. Like, so I think that this just goes to show that we can actually choose. But the thing is that now, like, the veil is off. Things are coming out in the surface, and we don't have any choice. But Aquarius, age of Aquarius, also connects us with the universe. Like, I'm not really sure if we did actually go to the moon, to be honest. I'm not sure if we have. I think maybe that's something that will come up in the surface later, just intuition I have. But I do think that we will have technology in the next 100 years, 1,000 years, that will make us do more things and go other places.
Mm-hmm. And so what do you feel like is an piece of advice, actually? It's funny, in Polish you said just advice, and in English you have to say piece of advice.
Yeah.
What piece? Like, it's not even a pie. Anyway, do you have any any advice for people to navigate these times the best? Because, things are changing, things are coming to the surface, and some people are really confused, or maybe they are quite imbalanced in this whole, time that we're living right now. So do you have anything to say to these people who feel this way?
Yes, I do, actually. The thing is that your soul knows what it wants. It knows where you are supposed to be. People say that, I don't know where to go, I don't know what to believe, blah, blah, blah. Not blah, blah, blah. But yeah, the thing is that, ask yourself this question. Like, if you didn't have any barriers, if you didn't have this, what do you want to? Like, what do you want to do? Okay, close your eyes. Okay, yeah, my interests are this and that and that. Okay, that's all we need to know, because that's your that's your soul purpose. That's what your interests are, what you want to do, what you feel. That's your soul purpose. So the thing is that, okay, when you accept that, you need to you should surrender, like surrender to not having control, because that's the thing. We want to have control. We want to know what is going to happen. Like, and when we don't have control, we get chaotic, right? So let go of control, trust Mother Earth, and, you know, ground yourself, have connection with Mother Earth, because when you, I'm getting goosebumps again, because when you surrender, when you do believe that you will be taken care of, you actually will. But the thing is that when you feel that, oh, I would like to do this and that, and this kind of scarcity, and, you know, that when people don't go that way and or listen to themselves, that's usually because the mind says, well, if I move there, I will not have money. If I do that, how can I pay my bills? If I do that, this person will get upset, and you know, because those does not connect. And I think that a lot of people probably will feel scared, but that's what they want us to feel, because scared, that's a very low frequency. And what can we do with low frequency? We can get even lower. You can be my, you know, what is it, like if you are a robot and I'm, you know,
you're
taking the charge of you, controlling. Yeah,
it's like automatic, right?
Yes, right. So I like when you have a negative thought, or when you feel depressed or anxious and something negative happens, we all know that when something negative happens, your whole day is, you know, shitty. All the other negative things happen. But when you have a negative feeling, you only have 17 seconds to think about something positive before you get in the spiral. So have one thought that you can go to when something negative happens. Like, close your eyes, just think of the one person you love, the one place you love, the things you love, like, you know, change your perspective. But it is very important to listen to your feelings, accept them as a part of you, because they are, and then focus your shift on something positive. Dance, you know, creativity. Like, if you dance, and like, there's a reason why they say dance like no one's watching. I can't dance. Like, if you put a gun to my head and said you'll die if you don't dance very good, I would die. But I'm dancing anyway, right? I don't care anymore. Before, I was like, I held my, you know, the creative side of me very locked down, because I was afraid, what will people think? I can't dance, I can't sing, I can't. But don't think about that. If you can't paint, do it anyway. It's the creative things of life that makes, you know, more positive things come your way.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely, because it's all about sacral chakra as well, where you open the creative flow, and also the throat chakra expression and so on. And this helps you open up your whole energy field, because the sacral chakra is a power center. There is a lot of energy there. So you can awaken it through dance, through creativity. There is a lot that can come up. And it's funny that you mentioned it, because I woke up, you know, with a trigger, and I had to go through my feelings and go back to my childhood trauma. And I spent like an hour crying today, but once I accepted it fully, and I accepted everything that is coming up, then I meditated, I did yoga, I danced, and then I showed up here already completely shifted and already full of energy and already feeling great. So even though something negative can happen, you can go deep and just really allow it all to come out of you, because you can express it all and just let it come out of you, and then do something to shift your focus, as you said, think something more positive, or move your body, or do something that will be like a pattern interrupt, something that is completely going to get you out of the state. And it works, it really works. And you don't need to spend days in negative feelings, really. If you can just refocus, or either you can go as deeply as you possibly can, and then from the bottom you can only go up, or you can just shift your focus to something better vibrationally, like speaking, like something higher, and then you go higher and higher and higher. And I feel like both of these approaches are actually cool, top down and bottom up, because bottom up is like, okay, you go so much down that you just have to go up at some point, but also top down. And I always say that for what I share with my clients, it's like, when you have a trigger, it's good to go maybe bottom up, because then you can work through it and then you naturally go up. But in everyday life, surround yourself with people, situations, and places that bring you this top-down approach that just make you feel good and just make you vibrant and happy and everything that is just really high vibrational. So I'm really, really happy that you mentioned it. And I would also love to touch upon starseeds in our conversation, because we have a little bit of time left, but I would love to know, what do you feel starseeds are? And also, how do you know that you are one? Because there are probably some kind of signs that you can see, or something that you can really feel inside that tells you, okay, I'm a starseed. So who are they, and how do you know if you are one?
Yes. So the thing with starseeds is that, like, we have light workers and we have starseeds. We also do have, earth angels and other, type of beings, but let's just focus on this, right? So you have light workers. Every starseed is a light worker, but not every light worker is a starseed. That doesn't mean that the one is better than the other. That just means like we need both of them. So light workers, they are from this, within the third dimension. So their energy can be, it's easier for them on Earth to do their mission, because they, it's easier to put in with energy on Earth. Starseeds, they are from other galaxies, other dimensions, far away from Earth. And it is much more difficult for them to spread their knowledge, their truth, than it is for a light worker. But the common thing here is that you usually have a difficult upbringing, or you always feel kind of strange, like you feel that you're kind of misplaced, like you're misunderstood. Yeah. And the thing is that with starseeds, you asked me, okay, how do I know if I am one? The first thing is that if you already think that way, you are probably at least a light worker. But what happened to me is, when I read about the different types of starseeds, I came, to the middle of the list, and I was like, oh, there's my planet right there. I didn't have to read anymore. And that's, the inner knowing. When you start to think with this, after you get the knowing, that's difficult, because this wants you to think differently. No, I am a starseed from there, right? So I do think that for starseeds who haven't really understood that they are a starseed yet, the first time they will hear about starseeds, they will really, feel a connection with it. They will feel that, okay, I am from there, right? And then they can start to, connect with it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
absolutely. That's so cool. And I feel like I'm a starseed as well. But
yes.
To me, this knowing came in a psychedelic experience, because I literally saw myself, changing in the mirror in an alien. I was like, oh, cool. I'm not from here. I'm not from Earth. I have a different incarnation somewhere else as well. And I just feel like sometimes I just don't fit to how people behave. So I think that's a common pattern, where you just feel like you have a completely different perspective on life, or openness, or just, things that don't really, come to terms with how the society thinks. And that's why we are here, to also change the paradigm, to also bring some changes and some different perspectives. Because obviously, if we have some DNA from different planets, right, we bring different vibrations, we bring different energy, and we are here for a reason. Also, I feel that the work of Dolores Cannon, I'm not sure if you're familiar with her.
Of course,
for me, it was so much resonating with me when she was talking about 3 waves of souls coming from different planets to help the Earth raise the consciousness. I just felt in my soul that, oh my God, I'm one of them. I came here to help Earth to raise the consciousness here on the planet. And so, as you said, it was just like an intuitive insight. And I was at the very, very beginning of my self-development journey, in the first few months after my first awakening, let's say, but I still resonated with it so much that I was like, oh my God, first of all, aliens are real. Second of all, I'm one of them. What the hell?
Right? It's amazing. And it's like, the thing with starseeds is that when we incarnated to Earth, we had this timer. When shit was going to happen. Like Friday at 13:59, you're going to, bam, then everything's going to start. You're going to start to understand. And that's when you get kind of maybe people can get like identity crisis and stuff, because starseeds are very sensitive people and often get, ADHD diagnosis, ADD, because our frequencies, like, we're not supposed to sit in a school and learn about things we don't even need. And we know that. So we're not attracted to that. We are attracted to the things that we are supposed to learn about through both traumas and, life itself and what is bigger than life on earth, to teach that to other people. And to be honest, there are many starseeds who couldn't finish their mission in one life, not like they never do that in one lifetime. I do think that we do incarnate, more, but it's very difficult, especially now. We have medicine, we have all the things that they're putting in our food, we have the frequencies, the environment. They also get, depression and problems with mental health. So I do think that mental health is about, not being in balance, but it's difficult, and it is kind of supposed to be. But I do think that we probably incarnate to the point where we have gathered so much life experience and knowledge that we can learn to overcome more in, this life. And there is a reason why we are in, the beginning of age of Aquarius now. That's amazing. Like, if you really think about it, it's beautiful.
Mm-hmm. I feel that too. I feel so honored that I can be a part of this massive awakening, right?
Yes.
Because now when we see through things, when the veil is off, then people are like, oh my God, actually maybe the pharmacy and, this whole area, or COVID or whatever, or the wars, everything is just awakening to us, to the truth of who we are, or how we want to live, and what values we have, and what priorities in life we have. And we're quite courageous, to be honest. All the people who decided to incarnate right now, we are freaking courageous. Like, what the hell?
We are.
Seriously. It's quite crazy, but it's also fun. I feel like for me, I really appreciate that I can be, as you said, one of the people that guide other people to who they really are. And I'm just so grateful that we are here and that things are happening as they are, because it wouldn't be as expansive for us as souls if we were to be just in infinite love and light all the time. We are going through so much growth right now with all these things happening, that I feel like I'm just super, super grateful, and it's just really good for us. And high five for all of us who are here on Earth, just trying to raise these vibes,
and survive at the same time. It's
exactly.
Like, this body, it's like it can only take this much, but we're trying, and we are touching the souls that we are supposed to touch.
Exactly. Well, thank you so much for sharing all that. I'm super, super grateful that we got to chat today. And I would love to know, what is the way that people can find you and get to know you more? Maybe see your content, or, just chat to you if they are really curious, they would like to connect.
Thank you for having me. This was lovely. Well, I have a new Instagram account. I'm called, it's a Norwegian, the Norwegian name for the high priestess. It's Ypperste Prestinnen. That's my new account for, spirituality. But I have focused on doing that in Norwegian, because I feel that Norwegian people, they need things in Norwegian. So that's my part in this, for a starter. But I am posting content there, and I also have a podcast, but that's also in Norwegian. It's called Intuisjonsinspektørene. But if someone wants to message me or have a chat about something, or need guidance, help, readings, astrology, birth charts, you can find me at Ypperste Prestinnen or Amina Bergliot.
Perfect.
I have 2 accounts, yeah.
I mean, your English is so good that I'm sure if someone reaches out and needs your spiritual support, you'll be able to help them. And your energy is also so amazing that I'm quite sure that people would love to connect with you. Thank you so much, Amina. It was a pleasure to talk to you. I'm so grateful for this conversation because it made me even more energized now. I have more energy to go to the world and help raise the vibration of the planet because we are in this together. And so thank you so much.
Thank you for having me, and thank you for spreading your energy and light. That was much needed today.